Beep to beep to beep. Well, I'm done here. I'll leave it. Manly. How are you? Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, all that rubbish. Become a warrior teacher and buy me a coffee. Right, so the Telegraph, as you know, broke this wonderful news about what's happening in the civil service and how nutty they are, right? There was various videos of thumping great men trying to get in women's toilets. And you've seen it all, and I've covered it in one of my longer videos that I did for you. But it's no bad thing, is it? That it continues. We've got this. It's got the civil service getting stuffed up. Part 2. The duffing continues. In Whitehall, no one can hear you scream. So I'm thoroughly enjoying this, and I hope you are too, because it looks like the nasty little woke cultists are having, they're having it up them, right? Okay. It was interesting to watch some people saying, "Oh, this has got nothing to do with woke. It's just about gender ideology." Where you been? Oh, gender ideology is woke. God almighty. What do you think woke is? It's all of it. So now, Whitehall wokery won't be stopped unless we overhaul the Equality Act. Boom. Let's go there. Let's go there. Where everyone fears to tread. A web of laws and obligations are allowing officials to put diversity before delivery. It must change. An article on the 23rd from Fred de Fossard. Nice smiley picture there, Fred. He's got blue rimmed glasses on. Hello, Fred. How you doing? Hey? Right, it is difficult to overstate how much damage the Equality Act 2010, EA, has conflicted on the public sector, with the recent warnings from civil servants over Whitehall wokery just the latest manifestation. The digging continues. A web of laws and obligations stemming from the EA and its public sector equality duty have created a new value system. This is important. Reinforced by case law and precedent, which is upending how departments are run and shows no sign of fading. Perhaps most importantly, the EA introduced the concept of protected characteristics. So we're getting to the meat and potatoes now, aren't we, folks? I can feel lots of people going, "Oh, God! Audrey, what's all Audrey? Weigh in, Audrey. Audrey Roberts, who's the expert. Come on, Audrey, answer it. Let's hear from you. Sex matters. What have you got to say about it, eh? Women's Place UK? What about you lot? What have you got to say about it? Sex, come on. Speak up. How low can we go, right? How far is this going to go before the leftist ideology kicks in? Hang on. It's just, I know it's horrible, but it's true, isn't it? Wait a minute, how far? No, hang on, mate. What do you want to do to the Equality Act? It's just extraordinary, isn't it? Would it be great, right, if at the end of this, everybody came together and went, right, okay, we got to redo this because we got it so badly wrong, which we have, right? We got it so badly wrong. We're out of Europe. We don't have to listen to their Nuttery's edicts anymore. We're going to drop the UNESCO stuff. Drop that. Yeah, get rid of them, right? And stop listening to the UN and the WHO. Nonsense merchants. And we're going to put Britain back together again. That's where we should be, isn't it? Come on, let's get there quicker. I want to be there sooner rather than later. Let's get this gravy train running, shall we? So, the concept of protected characteristics, right, of which there are now 9 in law. This created obvious inconsistencies and led to inevitable situations where one marginalised group could be accused of marginalising another marginalised group. What he's talking about is the ridiculous notion of intersectionality. What's wrong with you on one side? What's wrong with you on the other? Or what is it that, your protected characteristic on one side? 9 by 9. Let's call it 10 by 10 is easier. 10 to the power of 10 for the individual. Twats. Right, okay, so the public sector equality duty mandates that public authorities to advance the cause of non-discrimination as defined by the Act. This turbocharges the equality agenda instead of simply guarding against undue discrimination. It has completely changed the way the government operates. High-profile examples include RAF recruitment, where senior officers block the promotion of white male fighter pilots in the interest of diversity, and the highly contentious issue of gender recognition, right? Okay, so I think we need some kind of equality. Of course we do, right? I'm not saying we don't need it. I'm saying let's go back to the drawing board. Because what we need to do with the public sector equality, Caroline put up something yesterday, Caroline Fisk put up something saying, oh, now that the public sector equality duty needs work. And I think it was Caroline, was it? I can't remember. And the public sector equality duty needs tweaking, right? But what they need to do away with is affirmative action. That's got to go, right? So you don't raise any group above another, and no public body can have an affinity group of any kind that is based around the protected characteristics. Now, if workers want to organise around, right, we need more money. Let's talk about what we need in terms of money, like unions do. Fine, that's no problem. What I don't want them doing is organised around, I'm pretending to be a bloke. Are there anybody else there who's pretending to be a bloke? Oh, you're a woman pretending to be a bloke. You're a man pretending to be a woman. Right, that's great. Let's form a group. Now what do we want? Anything we can get our hands on. Are you gay? Yeah, right, let's get a gay group together. Who's going to run it? The women's group. So what we need to do is get rid of affinity groups. I don't care if you have an affinity group around badminton. Anybody else play badminton? Yeah, I do. Right, let's have an affinity group. They want to do that sort of thing. They do it outside work. So goodbye, right? Goodbye affirmative action. We're done with you, right? Okay? Done. For everyone, right? Everyone. It's got to go. It's what's got us in this mess in the first place. It's got to go. Right, so they blocked the promotion of white male fighters. For the love of God. It's just insane. But consider also the latest 52-page diversity, inclusion and equality report produced by HS2 Limited. They're building a railway. This organisation is struggling to build the high-speed rail route between London and Birmingham. Right, we're having real problems. Let's get those problems itemised. Excuse me. Let's get those problems itemised. Let's try and get through this so we can deliver to the public. Excuse me. So we can deliver to the public what the public asked for. What is it, Roderick? Is it Roderick today or is it Rita? Rita, right, what is it, Rita? We don't appear to have an equality, diversity and inclusion plan. Right. What do you want us to do then? Well, under the public sector equality duty. For all the Ritas and Rodericks out there fannying about, right? Okay, so 52-page inclusion and equality report produced by SS2. 52 pages. Just insane, right? It lists the ways in which it is reducing inequality through the construction of a railway line. We used to have a bloke years ago when I was there for a crime. I've thought about this for years. It's funny, isn't it, the things that come up when you talk to yourself, who had lumbago. I think it's lumbago. Well, he was so bent over. I mean, literally bent over. It's very rare now. You don't see it. I think it's something we dealt with along with, club feet and Nazis, right? So he bent over. Right? And he was literally bent over. He used to wander around. But the poor fellow was always looking at the floor. He had to look up and see what was going on every now and again because he was so badly bent over. And for years, I used to tell people that he was used to check the lines on the railway, and that's what it had done to him, and they believed me. I don't know why I thought of that. Railways, I suppose. Do I know any railway jokes? I'll have to think about that one. I must know at least one railway joke, surely. So here we go, right? So it's saying it's going to do it through construction of a railway line featuring a lengthy segment detailing the millions of pounds in grants it has awarded for this purpose. It's giving out grants for EDI. Build the train track, you twats! Right? It features a lengthy segment detailing these millions of pounds. It also sets out plans to reduce the proportion of white men in the workforce to build the line. When I say to you this shit is the thief of time, I'm not kidding. Right? It's designed to clog up any project. That's the idea, right? Until they capitulate to the cult, to the Ritas and the Rodericks of this world, right? Okay? It also sets out a plan to reduce the proportion of white men in the workforce. By contrast, just 12 pages are devoted to the rather more important issue of tunnelling costs. Our society is being racialised, even down to the infrastructure projects. Come on, Rishi. David Cameron pledged to end the mandatory use of equality impact assessments while he was Prime Minister, but they remain today, and the cottage industry associated with them only gets bigger, the rent-seeking more expensive. This has a chilling effect when it comes to policy making. In the run-up to 2021 autumn statement, lawyers in the Department for Levelling Up refused to approve submission for funding without an equality impact assessment. Citing the public sector equality duty, the scenario was posed that high street redevelopment would be refused if it wasn't proven to increase equality. They're bringing the country to a standstill. This is woke. Right? It's woke. It's not just about gender identity ideology. Right? Gender identity ideology is under the woke umbrella. And there are people in our GC movement who could do well to learn that quickly. Right, these legal objections were overruled and nonetheless indicate where priorities are. Emphasis are placed in some areas of government. They become tools to block action and narrow the window for discussion. Similarly, following the judicial review of Dido Harding's appointment to run test and trace on equality grounds, because ministers did not pay due regard to equality concerns in her appointment in a time of emergency, a new precedent has been set which may derail future public appointments of vital importance. Before Health Secretary Steve Barclay mandated that all senior civil servant hires must be advertised externally by default, Cabinet Office civil servants attempted to refuse the announcement without an equality impact assessment. It was an extraordinary turn of events. Conservative MPs and ministers will get nowhere in their fight against left-wing orthodoxy in Whitehall without dismantling its legal underpinning. The Equality Act has created an ever-expanding industry for its own enforcement, with even a dedicated quango to monitor it. Any promises to dismantle Whitehall wokery are meaningless without structural reform. Such reform is long overdue, and there may be little time to enact it. You know that I'm about this. You know that I think this is what's got to be done. You know that I think we need to look at the Equality Act again and ensure that if we've got an Equality Act and we've got a public sector equality duty, which in principle I don't have a problem with, that must be written in such a way that it absolutely excludes equity, intersectionality, critical race theory, queer theory, gender identity ideology, or any identitarian movement of any kind. Any identitarian movement. It must give precedence to disability, right? Sex is the premium one. Then you've got disability, because sex is the most important, because that tells us who we are. So what I'm saying is, come on everybody, it's time to get round the drawing board. Is that what this chap's asking? Because that's what I think he's asking. And I'm saying to you, especially those of you on the left who are GC, you are going to reach a point where your leftist mantras, your leftist ideas, and the ones on the right are going to reach a point where they're right ideas, where they're ideas about what institutions should be. Because I've seen people on the right praising, oh, we've got a new bill, it's going to save us from the internet. I've seen the people on the right praising that, and they haven't thought about it for a minute. And I've seen people on the left saying, oh, gender identity's got nothing to do with woke. And you obviously haven't thought about it for a minute either. This is a hydra, folks, you know? We must know this by now. It's a hydra. It's many-headed. And I think a really good start would be for us to say we need to eliminate equity and gender identity ideology, queer theory and critical race theory from the entirety of our society. And what's being said in that article is that to do that, there has to be structural change. Rishi, you haven't got very long, and Labour are going to do nothing but embed it. And believe me, it doesn't matter whether you're left or right politically if you think that's where the fight is. I don't. I think it's cultural. Then we're all screwed. You get queer harmour in, game over. All right? So go and have a thunk and tell me what you think in the old doobries, all right? Or not doobries, in the comments, and I'll see you later.